Give it to me. I think we're live. William,
Let's see. Yep.
is that you?
Yeah.
Cool. So I had three people like my post this morning about this episode, and two of them are relatives, and one's Robert Lang. So they'll be joining us. Or Robert will for sure, because he can't stand not hearing the episode on Eddie Van Halen.
Mr. Eddie Van Halen.
Mr. Eddie and the band, of course. And Van Halen.
And those other guys, yeah.
And Van Halen as a ensemble, right? Oh my gosh. Generally speaking, so this is episode 12 on Van Halen and Eddie Van Halen. In my mind, I draw a very, very close parallels to Zeppelin. Four piece, three players, and a singer, right? Same setup. And Van Halen idolized Zepp. On the porch just earlier, I was checking out a bunch of stuff I hadn't heard, their later albums. And Alex, without a doubt, with different phases in their career, their history. Bonham. Sometimes he's not trying to play like him because he's doing Alex, but the sound production in the studio under Ted Templeman and Warner Brothers Music, they were trying to get the Bonham sound in the studio, hands down, guaranteed. Yeah. So those are the little references and such, but yeah. So really jazzed about this one. We'll save since we have no viewers. I have to. One of the things during the episodes is the number of viewers. I'm like, well, I won't show that yet because there's nobody on, or there's like one person. Well, the majority of the people are going to see it after, so I should just carry on. Like, yeah. Whoever sees it, and one of the first episodes had 100 views and stuff and things like that. So,
Bill, the show must go on. It's like the most famous line of them all.
And that's done in rock music was Queen and Freddie Mercury. The show must go on. Holy crap!
And that's got to be a big one.
What a ballad!
A Queen episode.
Queen. Yeah.
Freddie Mercury from Pakistan, like my mother.
Yes. Right. Oh my goodness.
He was a big Freddie fan.
So here's one of the things I never do. I don't think I have yet.
Like and subscribe. And nowadays on YouTube, there is a notification bell that if you click it, that you will see every time we go live / upload a video. So.
Wow. Live and yes, notifications. Like and subscribe. And as my nephew Jordan put it, smash the shit out of that subscribe button. He did. He said that. That's great. Okay. So we're going to carry on like this is the beginning of the cool stuff. All right.
So let's carry on. Okay.
Did you have something?
Well,
you could.
I do, but I'm gonna sit on it for a second because we got to get through some other stuff first, and then I'm gonna bring before we really dive into the main stuff.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some of the intro stuff. We'll talk about some stupid stuff. And then we'll really dive into the main stuff. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. And we wanted to give that shout out, but we can save the P reference, a name of a country with the P reference. We can save that if you want.
Okay.
The shout. So so what one of the things about some of this has started. One of the things about this was um, I had an inspiration to do them now. I always knew I was going to do one, and I couldn't wait. But what actually accelerated doing it now was so on YouTube. There's these. It's usually two people, and they review songs, right?
Hmm.
And they're review folks, and there's a bunch of different groups and different bunch of different couples. Sometimes they're couples, sometimes, and it's usually two guys. Um, but my favorite, and I won't find. I got enough reference here. My favorite is 404 Producers on YouTube. It's called the Street Review. The Street Review, and it's Fred R. Slim, I think, and then Cam. Cam is the younger guy, and I showed you that picture where it's kind of like you and me. Cam is way younger than Slim, you know, and they review uh, live on YouTube. They review a song and songs, and my goodness, you and then I've seen others that kind of like they probably heard it before, but they're just talking through it and acting like they're surprised because they never heard it. These two guys, man, I'm telling you, because they're like, is that Eddie singing? You know, things like that. So the Van Halen reviews they do are absolutely priceless. Ain't Talking About Love is one of them, and they do several. They do one of the songs I'm fixated on with this podcast, Mean Street off of Fair Warning, and it's priceless, man. These guys, they blow their minds, and I've seen them do other bands, Rush for instance, but the Van Halen reviews these two guys do. So it's called the Street Review. It's 404 producers, all jumbled together, and check it out. But they inspired. I saw this about 2 weeks ago, and I'd seen it before, and I revisited it 2 weeks ago, and I was like, man, got to do Van Halen. So that was the inspiration for doing this now.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Huh?
So we're kind of
you buying it? It's true.
well, maybe no, but since we're kind of like in the beginning of the show and it's like the intro and the shoot your shit sort of dealio,
Yeah.
I wanted to bring up that
Mm.
we work, me and Phil. If you haven't watched any other episode and you guys maybe don't know who we are, which I'm sure everybody watching this knows who we are, we work together and we work in an office setting. So I've taken the initiative of of implementing fitness challenges into our daily work life. And today, Mr. Thomas here has decided to join in. We were doing this month, it changes month to month, and we're doing dead hangs. So we're going outside, we're just seeing how long we can hold, and with the intention of increasing our grip strength, increasing our back strength, yada yada yada. And Mr. Thomas today.
Now, I'll interject to say that there's a little gym set up outside on the east side of the building with bars and things with exercises, and there's like a dozen different ones and applications and different apparatus.
Yes, there is. And Mr. Thomas today set himself up and held himself up for 33 seconds, which was actually the most that anybody did today. Well, barring Alberto, but he did it later. So
yeah.
But Phil put on a show for us, and that was, he still got it, is what I'm trying to say.
Wow, that was the weather was perfect.
It was really nice outside.
Yeah, and I just remember back to when I was 12 years old, hanging from a tree, and I'm like, I used to be able to do this for like 4 minutes.
But yeah, that was cool. That was something fun that we did today. And I'm sure, we say a lot of things about our job and things that we've said, and I'm sure a lot of people are wondering, do these guys ever work?
Right,
Well,
right.
I would say yes, we do. However, we still like to have a good time. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Well put.
Well, good job. Keeping the job security. We do work. We promise.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So Will, I guarantee you part of the reason that there's no viewers right now, um, part of the reason is it's 7:13 and our you could probably type in you could type in the start times of all the episodes and it would average out to like 7:15. So that's what happens is people come 10 minutes later to go, they're probably on now. And then they check out and check back at 7:30. So it's cool. All right. All right. All right.
So, sorry, I mixed up some tabs here. So
Sure.
I don't have, unfortunately, it's very unfortunate for me to say that I don't currently own a Van Halen shirt.
I do
However,
not. You know
for
what?
this episode,
Oh.
I figured I'd wear a band that
Mm,
was around at the same time and had a very similar vibe, which
yeah.
is Mr. Motley Crue, Dr.
Ah,
Feelgood. Okay,
wow. Dr. Feelgood, no doubt.
so
Dr. Feelgood. And he's got the offbeat ride, Tommy Lee, fucking
yeah,
just killing
yeah.
it. Killing it. Oh,
So
man.
little
Show
Motley
the
Crue
shirt.
shirt for today. Yes, for the show, the shirt, little Motley Crue shirt for today. But
I like it. I like it. Mine was symbolic. And we've seen it before, but it's symbolic with the Van Halen show.
very nice, very
Kiss
nice.
Kiss influenced Van Halen without a doubt. Without a doubt. The showmanship part of it, the show that without a doubt, once they got started, Kiss was like, because that's David Lee, man. David Lee is fucking Gene Simmons, right? He's Kiss. He's the show part of it. So for sure. So it was symbolic. All right. We do have a viewer. I'm going to check comments and Will, if you wouldn't mind, keep it up with comments.
Alrighty.
Oh, Mr. Joe Gretzky in the house. Mr. Will, say hi to Joe.
Hello, Mr. Gretzky. You're now being on an awesome episode today of Van Halen, and especially the main source of the topic today is Eddie Van Halen. So
The inspiration behind it all. Right. So super cool. This is great. So a shout out real quick. And Joe, man, super. But there was a couple additional shout outs from Facebook earlier. Uh, Joe Foster and Kissimmee, my aunt Marlene and Uncle Terry in Illinois, and Mr. Robert Lang Jr. in Edgewood, Florida. I assume he hasn't moved yet. But yeah, cool. All right.
and I'm gonna throw in a Mr. Kim Shepard.
Kim, and we have
Mr.
a little
Kim Shepard.
could have a story here. But Joe, welcome, and I sip wine during the thing most of the time, or I for every episode. Yeah.
So we have a coworker at work who shared with us a delightful story, and the gist of it is that this guy by the name of Jimmy Page has basically seen him, not in the flesh, but in a digital sense, because the story goes that he had a double neck guitar. It was a Fender,
It's the double neck. It's the red double neck Gibson that
Gibson.
Page played throughout the '70s, and what occurred is Gibson. They made them for a long time, and they stopped, and then they started remaking them. And Kim Shepard, our buddy, electrical guy, um, he bought one, and then go.
And then he has a friend who is
Yeah,
connected to the music biz, who
yeah,
was actually with Jimmy, and
yeah.
he had sent him a picture of the guitar, and Jimmy Page goes, I want to see that guitar. I want to see him playing that guitar.
Sure.
So Kim sends Jimmy Page a video of him playing the guitar that he used to play. I mean, it's like, that's like sending a video to Tom Brady
Yeah, it
wearing a
is.
jersey that he wore in the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
crazy shit.
yeah.
So,
Oh my goodness. So to yes, so to fill in a couple of blanks there, or a couple of spots, um, the producer guy that Kim knew of, the guy's out in Los Angeles, and I've heard other stories of this guy. I think basically Kim was friends with his son growing up, and this guy was entrenched in the music business. He was basically like an A&R guy, and so fast forward, when and he told me when it was. Oh, it was during the making of How the West Was Won. So they're in the studios doing How the West Was Won. They were remixing all these songs for that wonderful 2 CD set. If you've never heard it, please go check it out. How the West Was Won. Oh my God. So they're actually in the studio at this point doing that. It was like I don't know when it was, 2010 approximately, and could have been earlier. And so this guy is in the studio and not mixing and shit, but he's kind of like more of a producer guy sitting with Jimmy Page. And Page comes across um, uh, with the two of them together in LA. The guy realizes that Kim had bought this newly um, uh, production line of the double neck, and so Jimmy was fascinated with that and said, "Man, I want to see it." And Kim sent him a short little video of him playing this thing, and Jimmy was, I'm sure, just checking the guitar out, right? Oh my God. Yeah, what a cool story. Oh, and I had heard that before, so I was able to embellish a little bit. But yeah. But Kim did tell us a story this morning in the break room. Was it the break room?
yeah.
Where the hell were we?
Yeah, we were in the big room.
Cool. So yeah. Anyway, thanks for remembering that. All right. That's a shout out. There's the quote that I'll save for a little later because
Okay.
it's the coolest quote I've seen in a long time. All right, let's get back to the main main reason for this. So yeah, we covered the why. Okay, we won't do that again. Um, so Van Halen, first record released in 1978, just titled Van Halen.
Classic.
And yeah, it had 5 number 1 hits on it. Well, let me phrase that. I don't know if they're number 1 hits, but it had 5 hits that were played on the radio a lot. Um, and we'll cover that. This is the introduction still, so we won't go into specifics until the main part here, which is soon. Eddie Van Halen and Eddie revolutionized rock and roll, influenced bands Motley Crue, Guns N' Roses, and Metallica. So that that gets you there. These guys, eventually made it to Whiskey A Go Go, famous club on Sunset Boulevard. Eventually, but not at first. But I could dwell on that a little bit. So I've been reading some material and such, and I knew they had played whiskey, the whiskey there in California Sunset, which I've driven by and wanted to go in, but there was a long line out front, and most of them had leather pants on. I'm like, well,
and Phil, on this sunny, beautiful California day, Phil had forgotten his leather pants at home, so he decided that he would take the long way around and go somewhere else. So,
I did. I was out there for shuttle recovery, and I had no leather pants.
No leather pants, no skin tight white tank top. He left it at home.
So anyway, background there, but this is kind of going to the thing, but we do have a couple of more now. Got an announcement or something here come. So, but I'm going to start with because I remember this stuff. What was this stuff? Oh, so Gene Simmons here's the connection. Will, I forgot why I wore the shirt, and I remember now. Gene Simmons of Kiss signed Van Halen to the Casablanca label for that first record. That's the connection. Gene, which one's Gene? I can't tell from that. Gene made the shit happen. As far they would have got signed, certainly, without a doubt. But Gene Simmons was doing that. He did it with another band that I liked in the mid '70s, late '70s, Angel. He signed them. They were in D.C., Washington D.C. He saw them in a club in D.C. and he fucking signed them. Frickin', they were on a plane to frickin' California like a month later. Yeah, big time. I love those guys. Angel. If you ever go check Angel out, the records, I had every record they ever did. And I listened to those guys incessantly. My brother turned me on and so forth. Right. But anyway.
Your brother turned you on to Angel.
Yeah.
Didn't turn him on in any other way.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't take that. Yeah. Yeah, Clubs on Sunset. So they aspired. So when they got signed, they were in. I looked this up, and I can't remember the name of the club that first. They were playing in mostly before they broke on the Sunset, and that was a goal in L.A. is get Sunset Boulevard, get the Whiskey A Go Go. If you got there, the place where. Holy crap! Who were the band? Jim Morrison and the Doors played at the Whiskey A Go Go in the same freaking building. That was the goal, was to play the whiskey. So they did, and the rest is history. But that would be the introduction. Will, what do you think?
I think that's. I mean, I think now we got to go to Whiskey A Go Go. That's what I think.
We do. We're up to 2 viewers. This is fantastic. But Joe mentioned the place that they played that gave them their start prior to breaking bigger and going to Sunset. It's called, and I saw this. I just couldn't remember the name. Gazzeries in Hollywood. Gazzeries. And that was the first I don't know how big it is. That was the first club that gave them like an anchor spot. And the rest is history, because now they got a stage to play in and get paid a little bit to just work their material out. That's what bands do. That's what the great bands do that fucking become Van Halen. That's what they do. They work that shit out in clubs, and bands still do that. You know, I recall a vague example. Bowie. I I I was up visiting Bud in Atlanta, probably like 85 or 86, 87, 88, around that time frame. And Bowie was at a place in Atlanta getting interviewed live, like midday, noon. And then he I want to say he had an acoustic guitar, and he was um, he was doing new material. I had a term I wanted to use, but I couldn't think of it.
Here, Phil,
But
do me a favor. So if you see in the backstage, bring that other screen up.
ah, cool. You got a graph. Oh, we can do graphics this way.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's a ticket. All right, I can go full screen here. Nice.
Varies.
Oh my goodness. This is the club. Oh, Will, this is epic. Oh, wow. So this is the club that Van Halen got their start in. Wow. Los Angeles, Hollywood. Wow. Yeah. Oh, killer. Yeah. Oh
And
man,
then
that's fantastic. Do a whiskey a go go. Look up whiskey, and I'm going to take a quick break. I need to take a quick break. Is it well? So I can tell you that would have been an early version of whiskey because it got bigger as time went on. But yeah, show that again. Show that corner shot. Oh my god, this is fantastic. Yeah, that one. That one. I'm so can you blow that up? Can you make it full screen or whatever?
yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I drove by. I was going the direction of that white car. That guy was turning, but I was just going down Hollywood, going straight. And that's whiskey. That's the entrance of Whiskey a Go Go. Uh, the Doors, the freaking Doors. Jim Morrison and 67, maybe. So this is fantastic. Oh my God, Will, this is so you can be the graphics guy. So Will, I'll say I'm not being paranoid, but for the same reason, there's the copyright stuff with the music played live. There's the same thing for pictures, but this wouldn't count. It would have
No,
to be. It would have to be like a Life magazine shot that somebody still has the publishing rights to Life magazine shit. It won't be some shot from the internet typically, but the same rules apply. Doesn't matter what the content is. The copyright rules are in place. But Will, I drove right by that and picture in front of that white car on the sidewalk going down, going away from the picture. It was a line of people with black leather pants.
black leather pants. I don't think this lady's wearing any leather pants, but you never know. So, but yeah, this is cool. Yeah, Phil's told me about Whiskey a Go Go quite a few times. Um, but obviously I've never been to that area in LA to see this. So, but to touch a little bit more upon Phil, so Phil was telling me earlier today that Phil really only listened to Van Halen up to Fair Warning, and that's like early '80s. And then he kind of and he plans on not talking too much past that point. And I think that Phil is a fucking madman because that's not even Van Halen's greatest. And I don't know. I might not say this when he comes back because I want him to rewatch this and let him know that I'm publicly flaming him to say that he doesn't like Jump, he doesn't like Diver Down, and I'm like, Phil, you don't even like Van Halen. So I don't know why we're doing this, but it's fine. The classics, Van Halen 1 and Van Halen 2, and they're all great too. So guess I can't give him too much shit. However, thought that was a crazy thing to hear from Mr. Phil Thomas. So.
All right. Well, it's a good. It's a good thing the timing seemed right. We have a question. Okay, William.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. What was the question? Who's on the bill? Okay, check it out. Wednesday. So, I would just like I would pay $100 or more. I'd pay $500 to go back to when this picture was taken and go see those bands, because those are the bands you want to see, the ones you've never heard of, and you can do it live, you can do it locally, and I do it quite often, and Will has done it quite often. But look at that, it's Wednesday, on a Wednesday night, so this is fucking LA, right? This is LA. Wednesday night. um Fill the silence. FILL. Fill the silence. Fill the silence on a Wednesday. Um,
Hot wired, cop killers, jetpacks,
so
laser guns.
so we'll name the bands, but these were all on the Wednesday. Oh my God! Name those, please.
The Fill the Silence, you got Hot Wired, you got the Cop Killers, Jetpacks and Laser Guns, and Zebra TV.
Oh my gosh! I would pay $500 right now if I could be teleported back to this moment.
Well, let me tell you,
$1,000.
Don't think I would have gone to Whiskey a Go Go on this Wednesday night. However,
the ads are incredible.
I would have gone another night, but not on this night. You know.
Right. So my example, Will, that I can give, I've told this story once before on the episodes somewhere. The rock club I did go to in Hollywood, in LA, was it wasn't actually in Hollywood. It was just but it's in Los Angeles without a doubt. Coconut Teasers, and it was a Tuesday night, and I was able to drive back in and then go to this rock club, Coconut Teasers. And these guys, man, there were 3 bands. It was semi-punk, semi kind of just rock, surf, hardcore, but not over the top. But just really good. Actually, one of them, the headliner, they were called, I remember their name. I remember the Great Unwashed. They were called the Great Unwashed. Yeah, I remember that. And yeah. So anyway, that was the closest I got. But I'm so on the bucket list. Will, what do you think? Whiskey and Go going inside is one of my bucket list items.
That might be something that needs to be done for sure.
Okay. Okay, we got to get back to Van Halen.
So
can you show Will? Can you show this picture? You find this picture? It's very common and very. It's Eddie in front of the big Marshall stack with the red coveralls and shit. If you could find that, somebody might own that, but I'll take one. No. It's got to be that shot. Oh no, okay. That's good enough. You're good. You're better. I'll show this shot, and then you show that one. That's Eddie, man, back with the red coveralls, matched the guitar, the Frankenstein guitar. We're going to talk about here in a little bit. What time is it? I got to get cooking here, but yeah, cool. All right.
So, man of the
Okay,
evening.
you can see some of this, and then this was the famous one there in front of the Marshall. It, and truth be known, I'm sorry, Yngwie Malmsteen used to do this, and all those speakers. There's a good chance. There's a good chance those are all not live speakers, and Yngwie did that too. They would have like a wall of Marshalls and shit, big, you know, and they weren't playing with that much amplification, or the speakers weren't necessary, but they had what they needed. Okay, Will, could you kill this, please? Oh wait, yeah, this is good. David Lee with Eddie in a great moment with the guitar. Yeah.
So the
If
reason
I
I
had
bring
to,
this up is because Phil wants to sit here today and talk about
yeah,
Van Halen
yeah.
prior to 1985. And to me, that's sacrilegious. But to Phil, he thinks it's fine and dandy. So really, he wants to talk about David Lee Roth.
We'll get into that. But we'll get into that. But this, if I had to guess the time frame for this shot, I would have bet it been like 87 ish, if I had to guess. But anyway, Will, if you kill that, I gotta get on, because if you keep showing pictures, I'll just keep commenting for like the whole night. Thank you, though. Okay. Uh, change music. We all know that. Um, we covered, yeah. Um, so yeah, the first album, 78, had five just epic freaking songs. Jamie's Crying, Running for the Devil, Eruption, Bloom, blah, blah, blah. You know, my gosh. One of the news things before I jump into the rest of it, and was news wise, episode 11 was blocked. It was the first episode blocked. It was the episode with Dave Bendig talking about his amazing 30 years, 30 plus years of of live production, and he was a lighting guy, and he was a really good lighting guy, and that's a great episode. It got blocked. I played an ACDC song, and
It was so good of an episode that YouTube was like, "No, you're going to be famous off this shit. Let's get rid of it."
right,
So.
right. We could only turn more people on to ACDC, but we don't want to do that. And then I just have a commentary on that. So then on Facebook, on Facebook, there's the people that do different things on Facebook. And this one gal plays, it's a really neat little segment, that things that she does it regularly. She plays her dad's records and then comments on it. And basically like the whole song will play, and then she comments on it, and I'm like, what's the difference between that and this? There's not a lot of difference.
I think it's just the platform rules.
It's platform, yeah. It's YouTube platform rules, and in all due respect, and there's copyright and there's fair use and stuff, but yeah. And we've talked about that in the past early on. So it got blocked. I have to edit out the ACDC little section. It's like 45 seconds probably. I have to edit that out. That is difficult to do with the StreamYard. StreamYard's great, and it's not hard for a 19-year-old, but it's very hard for a 63-year-old. Bottom line. So It's happening. Dave Bendig is just chomping at the bit because his wife hasn't even seen the episode.
Yes, so we got to get that back up and running.
His wife hasn't even seen it. Yeah, so we do. I'm going to play something tonight, and I think it's far enough removed from the actual recording because it's a guy just duplicating a solo. It's not even a solo; it's a rhythm part. No vocals. So I'm going to play that. I'm going to test that shit out big time because I'm dying to know, like, what's the threshold? Because you can get anybody else playing the stuff, man. You can, yeah. So anyway, so we're going to go back into the Van Halen and Eddie. I want to do the quote.
Okay.
Well, the quote. Wow. At work today, I burned a copy of this and put it and gave it to Will, and he laughed. This is Eddie Van Halen quote. So there's really cool interviews with Eddie. There really are. There's some really cool interviews, and mostly they're during the day, and he's hanging out, and half the time he doesn't have a guitar, half the time he does, and they're really neat. But one of the quotes was, "This is Eddie Van Halen. I like to sound like it's dying and back it off a bit." I like to sound like it's dying and back it off a bit. That was his philosophy. And you can tell, right? And his playing. Jeez, it's so cool. Anyway, I didn't effectively deliver that, but that was the quote. We're blocked. Boom. You did the Kim story. Okay. All right. By the way, the ACD song was "It's a Long Way to the Top" was the song that got picked up there, but no surprise actually. So with my Van Halen experience, mine was all early, relatively early stuff until 5150, basically. But the earlier albums, the most important to me. Fair Van Halen 1, Van Halen 2, Fair Warning, and it jumps to Fair Warning because I moved to UCF in Orlando and lost track for a year. But the Fair Warning record is my favorite album besides the first one, for sure. And we're going to dissect one of those songs on Fair Warning, so a little bit. But anyway, yeah, I have down here Van Halen 1, Van Halen 2, and the fourth record was Fair Warning.
So picture Phil. It's 1970. And I'm talking to the viewers. It's imagine Phil, and it's 1979, and Phil listens to Van Halen 1, and he's like, yeah, these guys are pretty good, but they're probably not going to be anything. Fast forward 40 years later, and he's doing a show on them. And this Eddie Van Halen guy, I mean, I guess he could play the guitar, but nah, whatever.
Yeah. There's one difference. When we first heard that record, Will, our jaws just dropped. Everybody's jaws dropped. I hosted two friends, Mike Frank and Eric Niedenthal, in my bedroom in '78 when that record came out. Because my brother, bless Bud Hart, Bud said, "Hey, there's this new hot group." So Bud worked at Zayre's. Zayre's was an old small department store in local towns, and they had they had a music section and records. They had records.
I think they still exist.
Yeah. And so we're talking when Bud was doing that, 77, 78, 79, for sure. And Bud said, Will, but of course I would have come across them eventually, but I was the first. I was the fucking first in our town. I can't say in the whole town, but of all my friends, I was the first. Because Bud said, Phil, this band sounds like Led Zeppelin. You got to hear them. And I went to the store 2 days later and bought Van Halen 1 when it came out. And I listened to it and I couldn't believe it. And then I invited Mike Frank and Eric Niedenthal over to my house and said, guys, you got to check this out. And man, it changed Mike Frank's life for sure. And we were all in disbelief. So check it out. Back then, and anybody nowadays could hear it for the first time and have the same thought. When Eddie's doing Eruption, you think there's like computers involved and like, you know, and that whole, you know, those are probably 30-second notes he's playing. I would guess they're 30-second notes. I think so. And when we heard that, I thought it was a computer. I was like, we're looking at each other. We don't say anything for a while or a bit. During first time hearing Eruption when it came out, and you're like, basically you're just in disbelief. You just don't know what to think, and that was really the feeling. Yeah, it was really cool. Man.
Like I remember one of the first times ever listening to Van Halen.
Yeah,
that I can tell you about. I was probably 7 years old, and I'm in my dad's 1997 Ford F350. Okay.
Sorry. Yeah. Yes.
And so
Ford 350.
We're sitting there. My dad's still got like the analog radio, like with the little digi screen and 1 through 6 and the tuner. and he puts on 105.9, which is classic rock radio in South Florida, Miami.
Yeah.
And they play on the radio Eruption right into You Really Got Me Now.
You really got me now.
And so I remember listening to Eruption when I'm like 7 years old, and I'm like, holy shit, this guy is just fucking wailing on the guitar. Like I didn't know Eddie Van Halen. I didn't know it was Van Halen. I just remember that solo, and I just remember him going crazy, and then it goes straight into You Got Me Now. You really got me now. And I really that memory in my head is so vivid because I remember that was the first time I'd ever heard any sort of guitar playing like that, you know?
Right.
Now we're talking about this is 2009, you know?
When you were hearing it. Wow. Yeah. Super cool. When anybody hears that for the first time, it really just, musically, it's how you describe art in a heavy freaking rock sense, it was truly amazing, and so Will, another observation I've made over checking this stuff out in some of the live performances on YouTube. You can see it all on YouTube, but that's all I've ever done. I don't have any secret gateway to Van Halen live performances. I wish I did. But the takeaway is throughout the years. Now there were some years where Eddie got sloppy because he was drinking a lot. But bottom line is what I see is 30 years later, him doing the same. Oh, I know what it is. There's a YouTube video. It's 13 minutes long. Check it out. It's 13 minutes long. It's the Eddie Van Halen Eruption solo. And it was I have to guess the year. I knew it at one point because I watched it like 3 times a week ago. He does this 13-minute version of Eruption, it would have been Might have been like the late '90s or something, approximately. He's on top of his game still, and straight. At that point, straight as can be. And all he ever did was drink. It wasn't like he was going over the deep end, but still, that affects your playing. So, um, this video, oh my goodness gracious, it just captures Eddie from start to finish. He stretches it out for 13 minutes. Basically, there's about a 5-minute intro of just him soloing, doing things that are not related to Eruption. Probably some chordal connections, and there are, there are, there are for sure. But um, then, then you hear the beginning of the song. 6 minutes into it, and then he rips through the Eruption thing and drags it out a little bit and has something on the end. It's an amazing thing to see. Eruption, yeah, change the world, change the rock and roll world.
Yeah, the rock and roll world.
It changed the rock and roll world. They were like, oh wow, this is different. This is Jimi Hendrix modern day, is what it was. Really. All right, we have to continue here. We're up to 2 listeners. Who's on besides Joe?
Joe's over here and he's presenting some comments.
And Joe, please comment.
And he does say here that he read Alex's book, and apparently they were all huge cocaine fiends. But Joe, cocaine isn't a drug. It's just coffee for the nose, It's just coffee for the nose. It's not a drug. It's like some people wake up in the morning and smoke a cigarette. Some people wake up in the morning to make a cup of coffee. And some people wake up in the morning and snort a line. Just coffee for the nose. You got coffee for the mouth, and you got coffee for the nose. So.
This is fantastic.
Einstein did cocaine, and what do you have to say about that?
He's just drinking Coca-Cola. He's getting a little Coke buzz. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. So I go full screen, and it's awesome because it's just you. It's just what you see on the screen, full screen. But on StreamYard, it's a really small box, almost like a 3x5 card is the size I look at. So, but if I don't go to this view, I can't see the comments.
Yeah.
So I don't see them when EVH and Einstein. EVH quote of the day from Joe Gretzky. EVH and Einstein, same category.
Could say that. One could say that.
Joe's profound. He's my equal, and many times he outdoes me in a lot of respects with the whole music shit.
Yeah. Well, I have something we could talk about here if you want to bring the screen up.
Yeah. Bring the screen. You bringing the screen up, right?
You have to pull it into the stage.
Yes. Yeah. I don't want to do that yet until I give me like 20 seconds. It's not a break, but it's a smash and grab.
Okay.
I have to smash and grab.
Smash and grab. Okay. So while Phil's gone, I'll go ahead. So obviously I am in the younger generation, and I was never able to see a prime Van Halen group. Or I guess I had an opportunity. There was opportunities that existed in the early to mid 2000s. However, I just never did that. But must say that one of my favorite Van Halen songs that Phil reluctantly would not really know about, I guess, since he doesn't listen to 1984, is "Hot for Teacher" with Alex's classic famous drum riff where it's the little, you got a little motorcycle engine going, and I think that's, to this day, I still think that's one of the most iconic drum riffs there is. Um, and the song is great. I mean, the message behind it, you can't go wrong. Like, every prepubescent boy had a hot for teacher. All right, no matter what they say, there was a teacher, and they were hot. And the song just really speaks to a lot of us. So I will say that's definitely one of my favorites when I'm driving or getting ready for the gym or something like that. Is a little hot for teacher.
We're close. It was longer than expected. Babe, should we shut the door? I'm sorry. I meant to pull it too. Thanks. Cool. All right. Sorry that. There was an extended. There was an additional visit there, but just yeah. I had to hit the restroom again. All right. Now we're getting into the Frankenstein Strat. That's what we're getting into. This is killer. Yeah. This is something we definitely want to cover. So Eddie was just incredible. We all know from the music and such, but he continually and constantly screwed with his guitars in a technical and electronic way. He had 3 patents. He's got 3 U.S. patents for guitar stuff that Gibson and Fender and so forth picked up. And but the Frankenstein guitar, that's the cool thing. Let's I did throw this away. So check it out. So this guitar is pretty good. That's the Frankenstein guitar. It's a Gibson. I'm sorry. Please. The Fender people will be highly offended. It's a Fender Strat body, and he put a different neck on it, and it's a Fender Strat. That's why it's called the Frankenstein. It's a Fender Strat body with a different neck, and then everything else on it with the pickups and so forth, and the tremolo bar and modifications. And that's why they called it the Frankenstein. The Frankenstein guitar. Fender later, Eddie was still alive at the time. It probably would have been around in the 2000s. Fender made the Eddie, the EVH guitar, Frankenstein guitar. Apparently, there wasn't a bunch of them, but regardless, they're quite highly sought after. So I had shown Will today at work. There was an example. I have them down here actually.
Here, you can pull in my screen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pull in my screen to the stage.
I'm sorry. Yes. Sorry. Oh, this is awesome. And I'm going to go full screen. This is going to be killer. Will, you are the man, buddy. Yeah. That's it. That's the actual guitar. Look at the top. The top left where the white stripe is. That was banged on a stage somewhere. That's how that crack got there. This guitar. Yeah. What are you showing there? Yeah. Yeah.
All the scuffs.
Yeah, scuffs and the bang on the top there on the left on the left with the white. So the Will, if you would, the little thing that looks like a disc above the black, yeah, that quarter. That is a U.S. quarter that he used to somehow modify the tremolo bar on this guitar, and it's freaking insane. Yeah, yeah. And Eddie loved this thing and played it mostly. You know, 12 years. I'm sure he never stopped playing it, but um, over the years went on different things, and so the Kramer guitars is what he loved, and Kramer came out with signature models of a lot of this, but Fender had to do the replication of this, and this is super famous, man, and we've all seen it, and it's just adorable. It's adorable. Oh my god, I can't even say enough. Oh, so Will, additional fact to the Eddie guitar, the one he played, this one, the original. You'll love this. I don't think you know this. The original is in the Smithsonian Institution. Smithsonian. The original Eddie Frankenstein is in the Smithsonian. So the family probably thought, like, what's the best way we can ensure that this will never get stolen? Put it in the Smithsonian, for Christ's sakes.
The only way that gets stolen is in a grand theft heist. So it'll be stolen in a fashion that is living up to Eddie's, to his reputation.
Like, what was the series that Nicolas Cage did? Who's stealing the Declaration of Independence?
Yeah. What's that movie called? Yeah, I can't remember. But yeah.
But anyway, yeah, super. The fact that you pull up graphics like that, Will, we have propelled this into a different strata.
We have left low Earth orbit, and we are now venturing.
We have, and I still have Joey's.
That's a Super Bowl cigar right there.
It is. What, remind me of the brand? It's a kind of a famous brand.
I think it's Maduro, right?
Yeah, Maduro? It's a Maduro. It's a bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Super Bowl Sunday. All right, we're saving that for that. Anyway, thank you for doing that. Let's get back into it. What time is it? We've been up for an hour and 2 minutes. Not bad. I'm still going to play that clip. And we'll, because one of the things I did want to mention that's in the mix here. I gotta go sheet there, but one of the things about Eddie and his playing, his rhythms. Everybody goes nuts about his leads, right? That's if you mention Eddie Van Halen, people think about Eruption and all his leads. I love that, but I'm somewhat the contrary. His rhythm guitar parts on every song, some in particular, are incredible. Fair Warning, Unchained, and Mean Street. The rhythm guitar on those songs, it is just, it's amazing. And I can't, amazing doesn't even describe it. So within 2025, over the year, I was sampling Van Halen stuff, and I caught on to this and these little parts. I'll probably segue into that because test my music theory knowledge with the help of Pete Martin. But anyway, along those lines, I'll try to make sense of this, and really, it'll help if I can play that clip first, and you could hear it first. Because me describing it, you guys are like, that's fine and dandy, but if I don't even know the song you're talking about or the part you're talking about. It's not going to be very helpful. So I'm going to attempt to pull that up. Well, I might need a little cushion here.
So,
Little
so I have,
action from
I
Will.
guess I have a little bit of a story to add then.
Yes,
Um, so
please.
so Miguel, so we have a buddy at work, and his name is Miguel, and he
Bike Week.
was informing us about Daytona Bike Week, and that happens every
Mm,
year. If you're not aware of it, I'm sure
mm.
most people watching this probably are because they're friends of Phil, and Phil never shuts up, so they'll know about Bike Week. And so Miguel had done me the pleasure of. So let me give a little backstory first. So Miguel goes to Bike Week. He rides a motorcycle, and he informed me and Phil
We'll
about
tell
all of the
story. Perfect.
bands that play at Bike Week, and he had showed me a picture that he had taken with a famous guitarist, which happened to
Yes.
be CC DeVille.
CC DeVille. Miguel showed you that? I didn't see that.
He
I'm a
showed me.
huge CC DeVille fan. He's the only freaking metal guy I love. But go ahead. Oh
Who
my
was part of Poison.
God.
Who was part of Poison.
Yeah. Oh
Poison's
my
a great band of
God.
mine. So
Yeah.
so
Unbelievable. I didn't
you
know
got to see the
any of
picture at
that.
work. Yeah, you got to see the picture he took with CC DeVille.
Holy shit. Miguel. Wow. And I told you separately, Kim Shepard had the story about CC DeVille. And
Yes.
just through that lineage of that connection with the producer guy, the A&R, the guy was an A&R guy. That he found himself on stage. Let me rephrase that, not on stage, watching from the stage. But he was, in other words, they were close enough to, they were welcomed enough to be on the stage when the band was playing and watching them. CC DeVille and Poison. Oh my God. He's the only one from that genre. He's the only one that I love. I just loved his playing. I just loved CC DeVille's playing. I really did. But the rest of it, Motley Crue and all, love them. But I didn't listen to much of it at all. But yeah, here's to Poison and CC.
And Phil likes
I'm
to
a,
claim he's a rock and roll fan. This fucking guy pisses me off every day. You know? This is ridiculous. God.
you have to go on because I got to find this. But it was. I think I'll find it here. This is the futzing, Phil. I have to futz for this.
Phil's a futzer.
I didn't have it queued up.
Phil's a futzer. There's another F word we use for Phil sometimes, but it's usually futzer. So speaking of Motley Crue, which, like I said, Motley Crue, there's a great doc. I guess you would call it like a docu pic on Netflix called The Dirt. And if you haven't seen it, you should watch it. It's kind of funny. It's like the story of Motley Crue portrayed by actors, and it's a little rendition. It's somewhat accurate, but also a little doctored for like as to be like a movie of sorts. And
Yeah.
it's really funny and it's really cool. So
Ah,
anybody hasn't seen it, The Dirt on Netflix.
sorry, I found it, but Will, I think I've seen that. So back when VH1 was still doing what was the name of the documentary series? Behind the Music. It was called VH1 Behind the Music, and Becky and I, God, whenever we saw it in 2000 or whatever, this particular episode, it was on Motley Crue, and man, wow, and she loved it. She was like, she loved it. just like how like teetering on the edge they all were.
Well, I would say they went over the edge.
They were
I wouldn't
over,
say they teetered on it.
yeah. Nikki Sixx went over the edge
Yeah.
twice.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that.
Yeah. Yeah. But that episode is fantastic. Those stories on that little segment are absolutely incredible. So we won't go into those. Sorry when you hear a thump. The mic is about 6-7 inches from my face, and I hit it sometimes. So sorry about that. So I'm gonna play this, and then I'm gonna talk about the song. And my dear friend Pete Martin, who just joined a new band called Changes in Brevard. He joined them this weekend, and his first gig's coming up in a week or so.
Wind of Change, Kansas.
Changes, and it's a blues band from what I saw, because we went Saturday and let's talk about that. And to remind me to play this, we went Saturday to see Changes at George and Dragon in Cocoa Village, and Pete's joining the band at this point, but the guitarist he's replacing is on stage, and Pete, right? And this has happened back in the Who days, right? Where they fuck you, you're out of here. We're bringing up, so and so. Ron Wood's gonna fill your spot from here on out. So we're thinking in terms like that, and Pete was too. But it was quite the contrary. The guy was leaving intentionally. So it was really cool. It was the Saturday you were at. We'll segue. We're hour and 11 minutes. I think we can segue for a second. This is Saturday you were in freaking Tampa, hunkering down with the storm that blew through.
Hunkering down, but not at Hunker Down, but I was hunkering down.
Right.
In Tampa
Yeah.
for the Gasparilla Pirate Festival. I didn't get to see any bands though, which was unfortunate.
Yeah.
However, it was still a cool time. So,
yeah.
Cool in a dual sense, as it was cool and it was very, very cold. So, but no, man, it was great.
Cool. I was gonna post. Joe likes it, and very cool. I was gonna send a shout out there, but Joe's cool. Who else is on? My dad's favorite band. Wow, who's that?
That's my buddy Anthony. That's Anthony.
That's Anthony. My dad's favorite band. Mine as well. Van Halen?
Yeah, he's talking about Van Halen.
Oh man, Anthony, you're in for a treat, man. Oh my god. Geez. So the segment with the part we're at, so what happens on StreamYard is I have to I like it full screen and it's just me and Will and that's all. It fills the screen, there's no comments. So I have to escape back out of that and see the comments. So I apologize. I can't keep track of that a lot of the time. Okay, I think we're gonna play this little. So we're at the stage where I'm gonna play a segment from Mean Street. The song Mean Street. It's the opening song. It could Unchained might be the opening song on the Fair Warning album, but regardless, it's Mean Street, and I think it's the fourth song on the record because I've checked this out about 8 times in the last week. But so this is a guy playing Eddie's lead or Eddie's part. It starts with the beginning, and then what's cool about it is he kind of jumps into the chorus, and during the chorus, Eddie's guitar rhythm in the chorus just blows me away. Harmonically, melodically, it's just incredible. And just again, that I'm so I like Eddie's rhythm playing as much as his lead playing, and it's fucking incredible. I'll compare him to Jimmy Page from Zeppelin. Jimmy's rhythms during the songs were absolutely fucking incredible. They were great. They were
This is what
almost
happens. This is what
always great.
happens when you listen to a
Always
band
great.
for 40 years. That
Yeah.
you get so bored that you're like, let me listen to the background shit. You know, I've heard every second of this song. Let me listen to what's going on in the fucking background. All right.
True. It's true statement. But it's so good that you can't. So we got 4 people. So for the record, we haven't broke 6 people live. So the time the 7th happens, we'll pop a little champagne bottle or something.
Have it on standby.
And the standing rule is whoever breaks the 7th has to say who they are. So Robert, if you're out there, get like 4 of your friends and just jump to 7, and it's like, it's Robert Lang, yeah. But anyway, so funny. Oh my god.
Okay, so I want to hear this clip. Play this clip. Play the clip of the background shit.
Okay. And so, mind you, Joe, you might not have been on at the beginning, but episode 11 was blocked because I played an AC/DC song, and I just have to edit the thing, put it back out, and I've been remiss on that. It got real busy in the last weekend or so, but well, it was on here before. I had it queued up. YouTube. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Ah, got it. Okay, here we go. You can give it a whirl. Here's the beginning. Main Street. This is a guy playing Eddie's part. It's guy. It's good guitar. No vocals. That ascendant. Okay, so here's what happens. He plays the intro, and then he jumps straight into the part that I'm interested in. That Pete Martin gave me quite a detailed breakdown of the music theory behind this ascending. So it's the chorus. So there's the intro. He plays the intro, and it jumps straight to the chorus, and you can hear this progression I'm talking about. It's Eddie playing rhythm on the chorus, and it's this ascending. It's that part, but it's Eddie doing it. And so Pete describes it. So I'm going to play it, and I'm going to read Pete's part. And hopefully this doesn't get blocked, because it's a guy it's not the Van Halen song. So we only hope that the screening software with YouTube, deems it sufficient not to be the original artist. I don't know how else to describe it. Okay, here it comes. All right. So it's the beginning, and then it's that progression. It's this ascending. You'll hear the Eddie's rhythm. Okay. It jumps right here. That's it. Okay, perfect. So my dear friend Pete Martin, who's just knows music theory, just he just plays and he's accomplished and he's a teacher, played in Brevard County, has been a guitar instructor for as long as I've known him. So his explanation, I'm going to read. Will, are you up for this?
Yeah.
Okay. His explanation. Now, I had crossed a couple of things out because he completely. I just asked him, what are those chords? What are the chords in that ascending 4-part ascending section? That's what I asked him. Mm-hmm. And we had talked about it on the phone over the weekend, but so I the limits of my music theory and at melody and harmony, but I'm learning along the way. So here's what it says, and hopefully this will be fun. If Robert Lang heard this, he'll love it. In terms of concert key, since Eddie's guitar is down tuned a half step, so Eddie tuned down a half a step. Pete went on when we were talking on the phone that's very common, and Paige did it, and Stevie Ray Vaughan did it, and it was just kind of a common thing because it probably fit. Sometimes would fit vocalists' range better, or they just did it for the creative purposes. So they would tune their guitars down. Very common, all the punk shit and the band Morphine. If you never heard the band Morphine, you got to check them out. There's a shout out to Bud Thomas and Morphine. A shout out to Bud and Nate Howes. They both love those guys. Those guys, their tuning was freaking off the charts. I don't know what the fuck their tuning was. It was bizarre. So the guitarist for Morphine, it was a 6-string guitar, but he only played with 4 strings. He just only had 4 strings on a 6-string guitar.
So
for example,
a bassist turned guitarist, huh?
Yeah. So the possibilities are endless with what these people do, and the creativity you hear over the years and over the decades of the songs and the bands that you hear and that you love. And Aerosmith, I'm sure Joe Perry had odd tunings. And it was just common in the rock world. It's just common. But anyway, so I deviated. Couple of things in terms of the key guns. Eddie's guitar is down tuned a half step. You're hearing A flat, B flat, D flat, and F, even though he's playing A, B, D, and F sharp. Right? I expect the last chord to be an F sharp minor, but it's not. It's an F sharp major. This is eloquent, man. Pete was like rocking and knows a little bit of Eddie's history. This last point, combined with point number 1, is the most significant thing about the whole ascending sequence. After climbing up, and he goes, after climbing up the guitar, I meant to cross that out. Okay, let me go to this. progression that started with F sharp minor. Eh, the progression that started with F sharp minor 7, F sharp minor 7. And I would hear terms like that in chemistry days with Robert. Him and Diane could just talk the shit all, and Tony, me and Leo would take a little break. we would listen to what they said, but we didn't really understand it. Um, the progression that started with F sharp minor 7 resolves to F sharp major. This resolution from minor to major is an extremely effective attention getting technique. Eddie probably, this is key. Eddie Eddie probably picked it up as a kid when he and Alex were both extremely competitive in classical piano competitions in the LA area. Um, their parents had them on piano, and they were naturally gifted, and they shredded. They fucking shredded. So Eddie was learning his music theory back playing piano when he was 7 years old.
So to the regular people out in the world, what everything that Phil had just said, basically, when Eddie played the background shit, he did it pretty well. Okay. The shit that nobody really hears, he actually paid attention and did it well. That's what he basically just said. All right.
Yes.
To the trained ear, you could tell that he was doing some very cool shit. But basically, he just played the background shit and did it a little better than other people who played the background shit. He did a little better than the Dave Bindigs of the world. You know? Because he was a lead guitarist that went down to a rhythm and did it well, whereas Dave Bindig was a rhythm that went down to a lighting guy that never touched the stage again. So always aim for the lead. That's the story here.
Shout out to Dave. So we get on to their discography. Oh my God. So of course we talked at length about Van Halen, the first record. There's Van Halen 2. Out of Love, two favorite songs that popped off of Van Halen 2, Out of Love Again. Out of Love Again. And Eddie's part was yeah. How'd you play? Did you? If you heard the song, that was up at 2, and then there was Light Up the Sky, and Light Up the Sky. I want to play a little tidbit of that. Well, Light Up the Sky. It starts with the Alex doing digga 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 bum down under the bum. It just goes off. It Light Up the Sky. Check it out, Zeppelin. Or I'm sorry, you can see me conflating the names here. Van Halen 2, Light Up the Sky. Check it out. It's epic. And we covered that. So good. We're coming along. All right. And then there are later years. Okay. I don't know if I'll cover that. Oh, so we have to get to, I want to, before we go to the later years that Will's more familiar with, but Will, so I sat on the porch before this for an hour checking those records out that I had not heard. And I have to say, there were certainly some really cool, there was the most revealing, the most like, profound thing I heard. But bottom line, I checked out 5150 and I go, oh yeah, I with Hager, that was the first record with Sammy Hager, the 5150. But and there were some great songs on that one. But So they had a controversy side to their history. Alex and Eddie, it was Van Halen. The band is Van Halen, and and the
That is
bass
true.
player and the singer can be replaced.
That is also true, which they were a couple times. So
So in one period, basically David Lee Roth, uh, um, um, basically when David Lee Roth did his solo thing with I know those players, Greg Bizinet and Steve Vai, and there was a fourth guy. Um, Basically, when David Lee did that, he threw the band. Then the brothers thought, like, hey, this guy's going solo. So they were like, fuck him. Get another singer. And eventually they did. It was Sammy Hagar. And 5150 was that first album with Sammy. Great songs on that. And I was checking out other ones, Carnal Knowledge. And I, I, you saw the text. I had heard those. I had heard Carnal Knowledge all the way through. Um, in earlier years, but so they boot Sammy and they get Gary Sharon from the Extremes. So Will out on the porch before this before this I sat there for a good 20 minutes listening to cuts off of and songs, entire songs off of the Gary Sharon lead singer record. Totally experimental in the Van Halen genre, in the Van Halen catalog. Experimental sounds I've never heard. Bottom line is it's just a different vibe. The whole record is a different vibe. Um, Typically, when you hear Jerry Sharon sing with that with Van Halen, it sounded like Sammy Hagar, in like in the ditch in the rut. As far as I'm not describing this well. Um, when he did solo singing kind of stuff and stretch, you could tell it wasn't Sammy, but but typically it sounded like Sammy Hagar, just like 20 years younger. It was killer. The album's experimental for Eddie. And I actually read some of that. Eddie loved it. He was like, it was just a departure from what they were doing, and Eddie could just do something different. And my God, right? In that box, Eddie wants to do something different. Jesus, right? He never did. Well, man, besides, we'll have to mention all the shit he played on outside of Van Halen, the little tracks he did for Quincy Jones and Michael Jackson. But anyway, I'll stop for a second. Gotta get my bearings.
so we're sitting at an hour 30.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. We
Just for
should.
time perception.
Yeah. We covered. I think we covered almost everything, well, except the later years. And I'm gonna we'll probably segue here to your enjoyment of the stuff you heard, which would have been the later stuff. Diver
84,
Down and
Diver Down, Panama.
Panama. Yeah. Did I play the guitar part? I did play it.
Yeah, and when you had walked away, um, momentarily,
Mm-hmm.
I had brought up Um, sorry.
Joe, Joe's comment was in all caps. Fucking Van Halen, baby. Right. There was so that controversy with them hiring and firing people. There was a crybaby kind of a thing that was floated, kind of in the media, like, oh yeah, they're fussing, they're fussing.
They were futzers.
They were fussing, but they were fussing over, yeah. Fuck you. I'm gonna get another lead singer.
I had brought up that one of my favorite Van Halen songs is "Hot for Teacher," and we talked about that a lot, and how that riff that Alex played, it's in my knowledge, in my brain to this day, it's probably one of the most iconic drum riffs ever.
It is. The start
the
of
little
it.
Motorcycle engine.
Yeah.
So
at this point, we should just talk about our favorite songs. And Will, you're totally right. And that's one of the. I started this with those guys that do the reviews. Those two guys, Fred and Cam, doing the reviews. It's a review that they've never heard the band, or they've never heard the song before. And they review it live, and same thing. Wow. So I did have phone. I misplaced it. I was gonna run through a couple of the song names from some of the later ups. Carnal Knowledge. So one of the albums I listened to on the porch before this was Carnal Knowledge, and my gosh, oh my god, and Will, that's when I was texting you and Joey, going, "Holy fuck, I did hear this, but man." And oh my gosh, those songs were great. On Carnal Knowledge for sure. Sammy Days. What do you got? I have to find my phone. Can you call it? It's not in this office, but I can look up titles and titles of the songs on the record. Oh, found it. Never mind.
Oh, there you go.
It was buried behind the sheet. Sorry. Yeah. I mean, you just look at their discography. You look at the discography. Oh my God. And this is Spotify I'm looking at. Pound Cake. Unlawful. This actually, the album's called Unlawful Carnal Knowledge. Pound Cake and Judgment Day. And I was spun off and watched live versions of both those songs. That was on that.
So Phil,
tell me.
Another good thing that we can mention in the latter minutes of this episode.
Yeah.
You've seen Van Halen live. You've seen Eddie Van Halen up on a stage at least twice.
I saw him twice. Yes. Yeah.
So I mean, if you want to, what was his presence like? His aura on that stage?
Expounded. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna go to full screen here. And you had asked about that at work. You're like, you saw him, man. What was it like? And then I had a time to reflect afterwards. I saw them twice. one idea is I saw 3 times and didn't have the ticket stub with the Sammy Hagar show. It's a possibility, but the 2 ticket stubs I have would have been with David Lee Roth. It was 82 and 85. I think it was 85. 82 and 85. Let's just say that. But the first one was 82 in Lakeland Civic Center. And so epic, epic. Lakeland, it's not a giant arena. It's like, it's like 5,000 people in there, tops. And just killer Eddie. I can't remember specifically Eddie stuff during the show, specifics, but my gosh,
Well,
wall of sound.
if you had seen them in '82, this is 4 years after Van Halen, right?
Yeah,
Van Halen won,
yeah.
and so that must mean that you've heard the Eruption solo live.
Oh yeah, without a doubt, without a doubt. Yeah, yeah. I at the time I was probably so jazzed that it it I was focused on hearing other things.
The background shit.
I knew the Eruption solo so well that when he did it, I was just like ready to hear the next thing because he was playing it like the record. The guy was so fucking good. God, he was so good. But that was likely that's my recollection at the time. I can't speak what I actually thought at the moment. Hearing Eruption for the first time. Yeah, I don't know. We were 82. I was 19 years old in 82. So
Whoa.
yeah. So super cool. They killed it. One of the takeaways, and you had asked, and I got to think about it. One of the things was David Lee's antics on stage were sufficient to, sidetrack part of it. He was so like trying to be flamboyant and
Showman.
kind of fucked it up a little bit, but it was David Lee, and actually it didn't fuck it up because the end product was Van Halen at that moment in '82, playing live, and it was killer. But David definitely sidetracked.
Did you pay attention to Alex any when you were watching that show?
Yeah, for sure. But actually, honestly, I did. Will, good point. I did. Of course, I did. But Eddie was just so captivating. His playing was so captivating. Alex is Alex, man. Smoking it with all the doubles. He's into doubles on the kick drums. He's got two, double bass. He's into the doubles on the kick drum, and then, it's a lot of doubles. Everything's like a lot of doubles. It's great stuff. And then he's got that 24-inch ride cymbal that just smokes. Yeah, and it was killer. Oh my God, they were young back then, Lord. But
you were young back then.
We all were, apparently.
All right.
But yeah.
You think you want to call it there, or
yeah. Let's call it. Make sure. Oh, I did. There was one other mention. There was one other mention I wanted to do here on this on Van Halen. There's a series on YouTube, and it's mainly instructional for guitarists. It's called 5 Watt World. I want to give a
Okay.
shout out to 5 Watt World. Um, it's Keith Williams is the guy, and he keeps his channel going. And he has got for Robert Lang and any guitarist and anybody interested in the history of any of this stuff, man, Keith and 5 Watt World, um, they it's these amazing little 20-25 minute videos of the history of whether it's a guitar or a player that the guitar of the player. And so anyway, it's 5 Watt World. And of course he did one on Eddie's guitars. He did one on Eddie's, and it's fascinating. And he describes the whole, but he describes basically in this thing, describes from the beginning of the band till fast forwards quickly into it's mainly equipment centric with the guitars, the shows on the guitars that they've been in. And man, but doing so, he's got several on the Beatles, and those are fantastic. Beatles playing Epiphones. And he'll do a whole show on Beatles playing Epiphone guitars. Oh my God! But while you're watching it, you get the whole history of the band like quickly. It's really cool. So 5 Watt World, Keith Williams, the guitars of Van Halen is what it's called.
Okay.
And I think that's it.
Alrighty.
Wow.
All right, man. That was cool, man. I like Eddie. Love Van Halen. In fact, this episode's probably gonna make me dive into them a little bit more, and I've listened to them for years, but I haven't scoured the discography. So I will probably listen to more things I don't normally listen to from the Van Halen world. Because you say Van Halen, you're talking early '80s to mid '80s.
Yeah.
Don't really think about the
Yeah.
late '90s stuff.
No.
So
Right.
but yeah, it was a fun one, Phil. I like this one. I had a lot of fun.
Cool. Very cool. Very cool. We'll check out the Gary Sharon record. I forget what it was called. I could look at it. So the show's ended. Let me just pull that up and tell you the title. It's so different. Wow. I was like, so the show's ended. Let's talk after the show. All right.
It's Van Halen. No, that would be. Is it 3? Van Halen 3?
Yes. Yeah. Because they thought they reinvented themselves with this new singer. They really did. That was the storyline.
Okay. Yeah, I'll definitely give it a listen.
Yeah, that's it. And man, it was. So here's Justine texting me. Check this out. Well, they got. Oh my gosh. 8:15. So at 8:15, Justine and the family, Zach's family and the kids were watching live on their screen. And man, I'm gonna send you that picture. Jesus, that's amazing.
Of us?
Yeah, well, it's of them watching us on the big screen in their living room.
Very nice. Hope
It's killer.
Hope we didn't say anything too bad at that time.
No, they're fine with it. The kids are young enough. They an F-bomb and it won't affect them yet.
Yes.
Turns out people get sensitive later on, but here we go. I'm gonna download that. Oh, Will, you're gonna love this. Oh my god. I would say I'll send it to you right now. So this
Okay.
is Justine and the kids, and Zach. Zach's probably doing dishes in the kitchen and listening. So that's my son.
That's
He'd be
awesome.
like doing dishes in the kitchen, and Justine and the two kids actually live here. I'm pretty sure watching. But man, this is like freaking incredible.
That's awesome, man.
I'll send it to you, you
Yeah,
and
send it to me.
Joey's thing.
Yeah, send in that chat. But all right, Phil.
The most recent. But
I
you
think
must
I'll
see
call
this
it there.
picture.
Yeah, I'll look at it right now. Let me see.
Gotcha.
Oh wow! Look at us.
Is that cool?
Wow.
Full screen. And that's Liv. The young one is Liv. And Justine would be taking the picture. And Zach could probably be washing some dishes or sipping on bourbon or, whatever he's doing. Yeah. Love them. Love them all. Justine, you guys are wonderful. All right. Thank you. Okay. It's a wrap.
It's a wrap, man.
We have to get Dave Bendig's, we have to get Dave's episode back up.
So some
Very
future
important.
shows, really quickly.
Very
We might do
important.
Dave Bendig Part 2 because I know he said he was excited to maybe come back.
Yes.
We'll definitely have Led Zeppelin, or should we say the Jimmy Pages?
Zeppelin
Zeppelin and
the
Page.
Jimmy Pages. That'll get his attention. The Jimmy Pages.
Zeppelin and Page, a Bendig Part 2, and I'm sure there's more bands we could think of, but we'll have to come
Will,
back to that.
so in the last 24 hours, I thought, actually, I think it was today, a show on country music, and you're gonna head that one up.
That's another one, a show on country.
The country stuff for sure. Luke Combs,
For sure, man.
all the faves. All right.
Okay,
folks.
sounds good.
Yeah.
That's a wrap, baby.
All right. Let me figure out how to end this here. When in full screen, there's not.
Oh, and there he goes. He's disconnected himself from eternity. Well, all right, everybody. I'll catch you later.
I think it's over there. Hang on there. All right, that's fine. We're just trying to end it. Oh my god. This is really hard. I've never experienced this before. There we go. Okay, we're gonna sign off now. We're gonna do a little escape button.